This weekend, we got UFC 317, Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira for the vacant 155-pound belt, and it's going to be a great matchup. It's going to be a great card, but that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about that we missed out on one of the best fights the UFC can make right now. This fight is just guaranteed fireworks. It's Islam Makhachev, the pound-for-pound #1, the 155-pound GOAT, and Ilia Topuria, who's coming off back-to-back knockouts against the 145-pound goats in Alexander Volkanovski and Max Holloway in his last fight, knocking out both of them. Brutal knockouts. And you know what? Islam Makhachev, he has only been knocked out one time. He only has one loss. 27-1 in Islam Makhachev and 16-0 in Ilia Topuria. It's exciting to see what would happen. It's exciting to see if it's going to happen. Be a great matchup. And you know what? I'm praying, I'm hoping that it's going to end up happening, because this is one of the fights for the hardcore fans, for the casuals, for everybody. This is just going to be a guaranteed entertaining fight. Maybe I'm daydreaming a little bit. Maybe I'm getting a little bit too ahead of myself, because Ilia Topuria and Islam Makhachev have some tough matchups. I still think that fight could get booked, and we're going to talk about how that fight can happen. But let's get into it. This right here, Islam Makhachev versus Ilia Topuria, was the fight that we were supposed to get. Ilia Topuria was the 145-pound champ. He knocked out Alexander Volkanovski to claim that belt, defended his belt against Max Holloway. Islam Makhachev has been wanting to fight at 175 pounds to claim his double champ status. Ilia Topuria wanted to do the same as well. He moved up to 155 pounds, vacated his 145-pound belt. Islam Makhachev, he was waiting for the result against Belal Muhammad versus Jack Della Maddalena. He wasn't going to fight Belal Muhammad because he's boys with him, he's trained with him. So if Belal Muhammad had ended up winning against Jack Della Maddalena, he would have not fought him, but Belal Muhammad ended up losing, so Jack Della Maddalena became the 175-pound champ, which made Islam Makhachev want to move up as well. So we ended up avoiding this fight because both of them ended up moving up. This fight right here would have been one of the best fights the UFC could put on. It would be one of the best fights in UFC history. This is just two titans clashing, and you know what? There has to be one victor. I'm sure that this fight could be close. It could be a domination, but you know what? That's the exciting part, to think about what could happen. But unfortunately, we're just going to have to do a lot of thinking, because I feel like it is a bit of a way to have this fight happen. This Saturday, Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira is now happening for the vacant 155-pound belt. And you know what? This one's an interesting one. Ilia Topuria, he is just insane. At 145, he did some crazy stuff. He's 8-0 in the UFC, 16-0 overall. He has crazy power. He's got some clean boxing. He's one of the best fighters. He's pound for pound #3. But Charles Oliveira, he's dangerous. He's got crazy jiu-jitsu. This is definitely going to be a tough matchup. But you know what? Everyone's counting Charles out. People think Topuria is going to knock him out in the first or second round. And you know what? I can't really blame them, because that's kind of what I'm thinking as well. I'd say Ilia Topuria, he's just really clean. It is up in the air on exactly what's going to happen, just because Charles Oliveira can't be counted out. I want to give him a fair shot, but I feel like Topuria, he has some of the cleanest striking in MMA. And I'd say Charles Oliveira is there to be hit. He has power of his own. He's got some crazy jiu-jitsu. People thinking that Ilia Topuria is just going to come out there and like submit Charles Oliveira or take him down. I mean, people say that he's coming from a Brazilian jiu-jitsu background. You know what? That is true, and he definitely has a really good base in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Got some great submissions, some great wrestling, but you know what? We've only seen that against the lower level guys, and the biggest thing is, in the UFC, he hasn't really shown his wrestling to be this elite level. He hasn't shown his grappling to be this elite level, because he hasn't really submitted anybody. He hasn't submitted or taking down these high elite level guys, and Charles Oliveira is an elite level guy. He's a former champion. He's been at the top for the longest of times. I'd say that it will be hard for Charles Oliveira to win this fight, but you know what? Who knows? The size advantage is definitely something to consider, because Charles Oliveira is way bigger than him. Ilia Topuria, he says that he weighs in really heavy, that his weight cut was really big at 145, and that's why he's going up, because he just doesn't want to deal with that. But Charles Oliveira, he's been at 155 for a long time. He's established himself, and we've never seen Ilia Topuria fight the high elite level at 155. But I honestly do think that he will end up knocking out Charles Oliveira, just because he ends up just walking you down and finding that shot. And I think that Charles Oliveira is just there to be hit, and I feel like he definitely has some insane striking. He's got some nasty knees, but I'd say that Topuria, he just looks cleaner. He definitely gets hit himself, so there definitely is a way that Charles could win this matchup. He definitely could get a sneaky submission if Topuria wants to pull something sneaky and go for a takedown or try to prove something. I think that he's fallen in love with his hands a little bit too much, even him coming off a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu background. I'd say that a lot of fighters, when they fall in love with their hands, they never really revert back to what they're best at, and I honestly think that he's probably best at boxing just because we've seen him knock out Volkanovski with just in brutal fashion, Max Holloway in brutal fashion, knocking out the 145-pound GOAT in Volkanovski, and the next in line, Max Holloway, who has built that resume. He has proven himself. He's proven himself to be that elite level, and he knocked him out as well. So Ilia Topuria, regardless of what you think of him, he has done insane work. 6 knockouts in 8 fights in the UFC. And you know what? He's knocked out 2 of the GOATs, 2 of the fan favorites. Charles Oliveira has definitely taken losses. If he comes out too aggressive, he's definitely going to end up getting caught. But I honestly think that Charles has definitely changed his game up a little bit. He isn't as reckless. He isn't as balls to the wall where he's just throwing everything, just making shit happen. Poirier, he makes you have that aggression. He walks you down, so he pretty much forces you to go at him or just keep walking back and backing down, essentially. This matchup is definitely going to be an exciting one of the best fights right now in the UFC. Let's move on to the fight that Islam Makhachev is going to have. Now, Islam Makhachev is moving up to the 170-pound division to fight Jack Della Maddalena, who just claimed his belt against Belal Muhammad. Honestly, Islam Makhachev is one of the best overall fighters. He's super well-rounded. He's got elite-level grappling. He's got elite-level wrestling. His striking has definitely caught up. He's got good striking. He has knockout power. He can take advantage of your weaknesses, and Jack Della Maddalena is one of the best strikers in the UFC right now. He's super clean. He's got good volume. He's got great takedown defense. But you know, in his last fight to win the belt against Belal Muhammad didn't really implement his wrestling game as much as I think that he should have. But Jack Della Maddalena stuffed a lot of takedowns for sure. Islam Makhachev is just a different beast. Wrestling is just so elite. I think that he can just take down anybody. It will be hard to hold down Jack Della Maddalena just because he is a 170-pounder. He's fought at 170. He's proven himself. He's got elite level striking. This is definitely going to be the best striker that Islam Makhachev has fought. But I think that just the wrestling is going to be the difference maker here. I think that this is going to be a really tough one. Islam Makhachev, I honestly just can't doubt him. I can't do anything because he is the best fighter. In pound for pound, he is the best fighter. He is the 155-pound GOAT. Jack Della Maddalena, he honestly really impressed me in his last fight, winning the belt. I didn't think that he would be able to stuff as many takedowns. I didn't think he would be able to look as good as he did, but he definitely proved me wrong. But Islam Makhachev is just one of the best fighters. He's pound for pound #1. And you know what? Fighters like this, where they got elite level grappling, they got elite level wrestling, elite level striking, and they've got elite level IQ, I feel like these fighters are just so hard to pick against because they just find a way to win. Islam Makhachev has consistently found a way to win, and he's doing it by finish as well. I think that Jack Della Maddalena is tough enough to survive, and I think that it is really hard to hold him down, but the wrestling is going to be the difference maker in this fight, in my opinion. And I think that Islam Makhachev is just going to have a heavy wrestling game, not want to strike too much with Jack Della Maddalena just because that's definitely his strongest suit. Because he's got really good power, he's got fast hands, got crazy combos. He just really knows what he's doing on the feet or on the ground. He's got great takedown defense, but that's definitely his biggest weakness. We've seen it against Hafez. We've seen it against Burns. He honestly was losing. I picked Burns in that fight, and you know what? I definitely was wrong. Burns got knocked out in the 3rd round, but Burns, he took him down for all 3 rounds. First 2 rounds were his on the judges' scorecards. In the 3rd round, he was taking him down. He got stuffed. Jack Della Maddalena reversed it and then ended up knocking him out with the knee. Comeback win. Was losing on the judges' scorecards. If the fight happened for another 2 more minutes or however long was left, he would have lost that fight. So that just proves that he definitely has holes in his wrestling. Belal Muhammad wasn't able to take advantage of that, which definitely means he improved in his wrestling game. But Islam Makhachev is just another beast. I see him winning this fight, and I see Ilia Topuria winning the vacant belt off of Charles Oliveira. So both Islam Makhachev and Ilia Topuria, I think, will be and new. So this just builds up the fight even more, and honestly, it makes it more exciting if both of them win. There definitely can be a matchup between Islam Makhachev and Ilia Topuria after they win their belts, if they do. But I definitely see Islam Makhachev staying at 170 for at least another fight. So let's talk about possible matchups for Islam Makhachev at 170 if he wins the belt. Two possible contenders that could fight Islam Makhachev is Sean Brady has been linked and has been calling out Garry to fight. So if they end up fighting, I think that this possibly will be the next person in line. Sean Brady has definitely been putting on a lot of good performances, only losing to Belal Muhammad, who was the previous champion, and Garry coming off a win against Carlos Prates, which is a good win. Garry, I honestly think he's less deserving than Sean Brady, but whoever wins this fight could possibly get the next title shot, and this one's an entertaining one, but these are definitely two people that I see Islam Makhachev beating. I think that Sean Brady, his best thing is his wrestling, and he definitely won't be able to take down Islam Makhachev. Even if he somehow takes him down, there's just no way that he's holding down Islam Makhachev, so Islam Makhachev definitely beats Sean Brady. Garry, his biggest hole is definitely his wrestling. He has been getting better, but his striking is pretty decent. But Islam Makhachev is taking him down all day. So the winner between these guys, Islam Makhachev would most likely defend. But if not against these guys, I would say that it would be against Shavkat Rakhmonov. He is linked to fight Belal Muhammad possibly, but I would say that if somehow Belal Muhammad beats Shavkat, I don't think that Belal Muhammad will try to fight Islam Makhachev. Wouldn't even move up to 170 pounds if Belal Muhammad won. So I don't really see Belal Muhammad fighting Islam Makhachev. And on top of that, he's been saying that Islam Makhachev is a beast. He's destroying me in practice. He's bigging him up. They're boys. They're definitely not going to fight. So I'm just going to have Shavkat Rakhmonov as one of the options. And that definitely would be a close fight with Belal Muhammad if that is the case. But Shavkat Rakhmonov, he's a possibility. Or Usman, who's coming off a great win against Joaquin Buckley. Honestly, I'm kicking myself for not picking Usman. I honestly saw that fight going 50-50. So many people were high and picking on Buckley, but Buckley got destroyed. Buckley just got taken down over and over and over. And Usman just really showed that he still has it. Definitely has some juice left in the tank. Usman, he's looking good, but it would be a pretty entertaining fight. He's calling out Islam Makhachev for the belt if he ends up getting the dub. Definitely would be an entertaining one, and I would say that these four guys are definitely in the contention for the belt if Islam Makhachev wins. So I would say that against these four, that's probably one of the four that he would defend against. And you know what? I would say that he would beat all four of them. Islam Makhachev is just a different beast. I think that he just beats so many people. He's just pound for pound number one. He's just so well-rounded everywhere. He finds a way to win every single time. Say anything other than he beats these guys, I can't doubt him. Just because he's done it time and time again, he's found a way to win, and he always ends up getting the finish. Ilia Topuria, if he ends up winning the 155-pound vacant belt, I honestly think that his contenders would be Arman Tsarukyan, who is the number one ranked right now. He was the most deserving for the title shot. He even beat the guy who is fighting for the belt in Charles Oliveira in his last fight. He pulled out of his fight against Islam Makhachev the day of, or like 2 days out, because his back was broken, spinal obviously. He's just been on UFC shit list ever since, so that's the reason why he's actually not fighting for the belt, because he fucked them over, made them reschedule the fight 2 days notice. I honestly think that he's definitely the most deserving for the title shot next. But there's also Justin Gaethje, who's off a win against Fiziev, which is a pretty good win. So lost to Charles Oliveira. He recently got knocked out by Max Holloway 2 fights ago. So he isn't the most deserving, but he's definitely calling it out. He's definitely saying that I'm going to be waiting for this title shot. I'm only fighting a champion next. So it looks like he's either going to fight for the belt or he's going to retire. And I think that the UFC likes him. So possibly Arman being on the shit list, Justin Gaethje being liked and a fan favorite, and he's just super exciting, always willing to brawl and bang. So I think that he definitely could get the next title shot. And I'd say that Ilia Topuria against Justin Gaethje, I think he beats Justin Gaethje, knocks him out. Against Arman Tsarukyan is an elite level wrestler. He's got great grappling. His striking is pretty good. He's crazy flexible. He throws axe kicks. He's just underrated probably just because he isn't like crazy known. He's on the UFC shit list. Isn't getting promoted, isn't getting pushed, but he is crazy good. I think that Arman Tsarukyan against Ilia Topuria, that is a crazy tough matchup. And I don't know if the UFC is going to want to do that simply because possibly mean that Ilia Topuria would lose just because I think that Arman Tsarukyan could take advantage of that. We don't really know exactly how good Ilia Topuria's wrestling is, exactly how good his grappling is against these elite level, top of the top, cream of the cream. So Arman Tsarukyan, I honestly think that would be a crazy hard matchup for him. I think that Arman Tsarukyan can easily win that fight. It would be close in my eyes, but let's just say that either that fight won't happen and he won't defend against him, or somehow he gets the win against Arman Tsarukyan, toughs it out. The other two people he could possibly fight is the winner of Max Holloway versus Dustin Poirier. Max Holloway is looking pretty good at 155, ranked number 4. Poirier is ranked number 5. He is saying that this is his retirement fight, but I believe that if he wins against Max Holloway, especially if he wins by knockout or he wins by dominant fashion, he would get the next title shot, and I feel like he would want to do one last hooray for sure. But Max Holloway, he's a tough out. I think the winner of this fight definitely could get the next title shot. Max Holloway is coming off a knockout loss against Ilia Topuria in his last fight. Chance he won't get that just because we just saw it not too long ago and he got freaking starched. But I think that this would be an exciting fight. It would be a little bit different since at 155 pounds, not 145. I honestly think that this fight is going to be one of the best fights the UFC is going to have. Max Holloway always brings it. Dustin Poirier, this was his last hooray. I think that he's going to go all out. Not that he doesn't go all out, but he's definitely going to want to put on a show, win as his last win, or possibly fight for the belt if he wins. So I think the winner of this fight definitely has their shout to fight for the belt. And I think that both of them are just dog tough, crazy tough. This is going to be a barn burner for sure. I think the Ilia Topuria could definitely defend against one of these guys. If it's not against those 4 guys, I'd say that Paddy Pimblett, even though he's ranked number 8, I think that he's kind of in the mix just because Ilia Topuria has had some run-ins with him. He's had some beef. He's had some drama. And Paddy Pimblett, he's definitely proven himself to be at the top. He just beat Chandler in dominant fashion, finished him. Paddy Pimblett, he's exciting. He brings the drama. He brings the heat. He's explosive. He brings the danger. And you know what? This would be just like a perfect matchup for Ilia Topuria just because Paddy Pimblett, Paddy the Baddie, he says that Scousers don't get knocked out, but I honestly think that this where his fairy tale ends, where he gets knocked out. But you know what? He's proven me wrong time and time again. I've picked against him in a few fights, and he's proven me wrong, so who knows? Maybe he could prove me wrong against this one, but I honestly think he would be a big underdog against Ilia Topuria if they ended up fighting. Topuria would end up knocking out Paddy Pimblett. I think against Justin Gaethje, he would end up knocking him out. Against the winner of Max Holloway or Dustin Poirier, I favor Ilia Topuria in those matchups because he just knocked out Max Holloway. Dustin Poirier, he's really crisp, really clean, one of the best boxers in the UFC for sure. But he is on his way out. He's already talking about retirement. He's already saying that this is his last fight, so that possibly won't even happen anyway. But Arman Tsarukyan, now that is a crazy tough fight. I honestly would rather that fight not happen simply because I want the Islam Makhachev versus Ilia Topuria to happen. And you know what? This build-up would just mean it would be even crazier. Obviously, Ilia Topuria versus Islam Makhachev was the initial fight that was supposed to happen. Belal Muhammad lost to Jack Della Maddalena, so both of them ended up moving up. So they avoided each other for now at least. But if Ilia Topuria ends up beating Charles Oliveira, wins the belt, defends his belt against Paddy Pimblett, Dustin Poirier, Max Holloway, Tsarukyan, or Justin Gaethje, defends his belt against one of those guys. Islam Makhachev wins the belt against Jack Della Maddalena, defends his belt against Kamaru Usman, Shavkat Rakhmonov, Ian Garry, or Sean Brady, defends against one of those guys. That fight would just be absolutely insane just because that proves that both of them are good enough to not only win the belt in a weight class above, they're able to defend the belt. Honestly, the way that I see it playing out, just because both of these guys in Ilia Topuria and Islam Makhachev are just so good. You can just see how good they are. You can just see that they see everything, they read everything. Their IQ is so high. They always find a way to win. And that's honestly why it's so exciting. Team scenario, just daydreaming here that it possibly could happen, because honestly, these guys are elite level, but this is MMA. Anything can happen. You can be injured and just push through, or you can wake up and have a bad morning and just feel like shit and just push through it and end up losing. MMA is definitely a coin toss sometimes, even when you're the better fighter, even when you're more skilled. So I'd say these guys would be favored probably to win their matchups. Definitely isn't a lock. If it ends up happening where they're able to win the belt, defend their belt, one of them could possibly move up or move down. So I could see that Islam Makhachev could move down from 70 to 155 pounds, where he was for his whole career, and just solidify himself as the GOAT simply from the resume, because the resume is everything. Beating all these guys in their primes. This would be the super fights of super fights. This would be the pound for pound number one versus the pound for pound number two. They'd be going neck and neck, fighting for the GOAT status, fighting for the resumes. And you know what? If this matchup ends up happening, if it ends up playing out the way that I think it's going to play out, fingers crossed, it would be the UFC dream come true, because it would be just a 100% GOAT status for the winner of that fight. And you know what? I'm not going to go too much into the actual matchup itself, because you know what? It is a long ways away, and they haven't even won the belt in their weight classes now. But Islam Makhachev versus Ilia Topuria, I would think that that fight would be at lightweight. Islam Makhachev moving down. 155-pound belt on the line. I would probably have Islam Makhachev at minus 200, simply because I think that he's just got better wrestling, better grappling than Ilia Topuria. He's got worse striking for sure. He's got less power, that's for sure. But he's going to be the bigger guy. He's going to be the more experienced guy. And you know what? Makhachev is the pound for pound number one. He's the 155-pound GOAT. He's 16-1 in the UFC with 11 finishes. Ilia Topuria, he's the best 145er. He's moving up. Haven't really seen him at 155. He's got one punch power for sure. He's 8-0 in the UFC. 6 of those coming by knockout. But I honestly, Makhachev has been knocked out before in his career, and that's his one loss. But I think that was an early stoppage, but that's not the point. Makhachev, he's definitely gotten way better. That knockout loss was a long time ago. Ilia Topuria, man, I think that he would just get taken down. I would be picking Islam Makhachev. Low medium confidence, probably like a 65-70% chance that Islam Makhachev wins. This is before everything happens, so it definitely matters on how they win, if they end up winning their belts and defending their belts. Even though both of these guys are crazy finishers, got crazy power, got crazy technique, I would say that this fight would end in decision, simply because I think Topuria, he might not be able to stop the takedowns, but I think it's going to be hard to hold him down. I think it's going to be hard to submit somebody like Topuria. And Topuria, him getting knocked out is just kind of hard to see. Even though he definitely gets cracked, he definitely has been dropped before. He almost got finished against Jai Herbert, but Islam Makhachev, I honestly just see him grinding out a decision victory against Topuria. That's just a quick breakdown on the fight. That's just me daydreaming, wanting that Islam Makhachev versus Ilia Topuria fight, thinking of possibilities that could happen. If you see it any different way, or you think that I'm wrong in one way, let me know in the comments down below. But I'm just having a little fun, possibly having them meet up later on in their careers. And I think that this one would solidify the future GOAT. I think that whoever wins that fight between Islam Makhachev against Ilia Topuria would definitely be the GOAT in my eyes. Let's just hope it happens, just because everyone wants to see that fight. That's going to be one of the most exciting fights the UFC can put on. One of the most exciting fights in UFC history. It would be GOAT versus GOAT. And you know what? Let's hope it happens. Thanks for watching.